Hello and welcome to our new podcast with me and my friend Brandon over here. I guess I introduced you. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, why, hello.
Hello. We have a history of making some content online. It's a very
Once a year or two.
a spotty history. It's as you guys can tell from the audio, this podcast is recorded over Discord, so I sound nice and clear, and Brandon's going to sound a little shakier. Maybe we can get a better mic down the line or something, but for now, this will do.
Cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I think for today, this is all we need, so hopefully this works for you guys. Next thing, we don't have a name for this quite yet, but by the time you're seeing it, it will have a name. Hopefully.
You don't think things ahead.
Not all the time. Anyway, yeah, I kind of just hit you up like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, let's do a podcast.
We're doing this.
Yeah, I kind of just said we're doing this. It's not like you had a choice or anything.
Never do. Gotta do it.
Gotta do it. All the time. Hopefully we'll, I'm out here in LA and you're there in New York, so hopefully with my wedding coming up very soon, we'll be able to try a in-person episode in a couple months, just as a special occasion.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. Anyway,
a wedding podcast.
Yeah. What are we gonna do on this podcast? Well, we are going to generally talk about kind of whatever the hell we feel like, but mostly, I think
We're gonna talk about shit.
Yeah, absolutely. The main theme I think would be video games, which we're gonna start there today. With unpopular gaming opinions, we'll get there soon. But don't be surprised, if you see something like a tier list of cereal or fast food or something dumb like that.
Music.
Yeah, music. It could be anything, honestly. Anything that the two of us want to talk about. Here it is. So, I don't know. The thing is, I've actually done both of those in the past on a different podcast, the cereal tier list, but I know, and I've done this episode once before on a different podcast, but I know that we're going to have, an entirely different dynamic, which will keep things interesting.
For dynamic, different opinions. Opinions change over time.
Absolutely, and that's kind of where I wanted to start, actually. Sorry for this all over the place kind of intro. We never take notes on how to start things off. We just kind of get into it.
We just gotta wing it.
Exactly.
That never goes wrong.
Never. So, I thought it could be fun because I believe I came up with 5 opinions, unpopular gaming opinions, and you came up with 3 and then forgot one, so you might have 2, you might have 3.
Hopefully the third will come back to me.
Hopefully it will. Hopefully something I say at some point will bring that back to you. But in an attempt to fill up some other time, I guess, I wanted to take a quick look at the last time I did this list and see if any of my opinions changed, because last time I also had 5 opinions, and don't worry, I changed them all for this list. We're not reusing content, except what I'm about to do right now. But yeah, let's get your takes on this, and let's see if anything for me has changed.
Yeah. There.
My old list, number 5 was that... I noticed I wrote a typo, apparently. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I'm an idiot. Okay. I enjoy Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, and Crash Bash. Now, I know you've not had, too much history with those games.
A history of Crash Bash.
I know you have an opinion on Crash Bash.
I remember it infuriating me when we were kids and teenagers. We haven't played it in our adult lives, but...
No, all I remember...
It was a very...
Oh, sorry, go.
It was very anger-inducing, and I don't remember why.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I remember of playing it with you as well, is we tried it out once, We didn't even get through the first area because you rage quit, and I was confused because I thought it was a good time.
Definitely played it several more times after that. It's just been so long.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can tell it's quite the rage game. It's not the most polished thing in the world, which I've realized playing later in life, but I still love it. It is a childhood classic, and yeah, this opinion hasn't changed. People don't like these two games because the other one is Wrath of Cortex. Still like that one too, and I really don't think it's exactly janky or anything. I mean, I'm sure there's parts that stick out, but I don't know. I'm kind of getting the urge to play it. Just both of these, just talking about them. So yeah, opinion has not changed.
I don't know if I ever played Wrath Cortex growing up. It probably did when I was over.
It was basically a rip of Crash 3 Warped, and I don't know if that's why people don't like it or if they just didn't think it's quite up to snuff. But
It stood out enough.
yeah,
Different.
yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but honestly, like if you wanted to basically clone Warped or just like double the amount of levels in that, I'm cool with it. I love that game. I love both of them.
Didn't play Crash much growing up except for a year play.
Yeah, you were more of a Nintendo boy.
Yeah. It was all Nintendo until I got an Xbox. And then pretty much been Xbox Nintendo since.
Mm-hmm. And okay, on I guess unless you had anything else for that, probably not. I can
Not
go to
really.
my old number 4, which has changed. I will say right off the bat. Uh that opinion was that The Last of Us 2 was better than the first one, and I did change. Well, I enjoyed it more. This is one that will get you like canceled online.
I would say, yeah, that's an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, it really was. And I guess my argument at the time was just that I when I did first play the first Last of Us, I did not enjoy myself. I generally just don't enjoy stealth mechanics because I kind of like to just brute force shit and fuck shit up when I'm playing a game. And so yeah, I wasn't in love with the first one when I first played it. Then by the time I got to the second one, I feel like the main, or I guess I should also mention, like the story of the first one just is like what it's loved for and everything. And I don't know. I guess I wasn't ready for the story at the time that I played it because I played it recently on the PS5 remaster, and I just gotta say, like the whole first game hits different, and it plays like the second one, which is what I preferred about the second one anyway. I just think that it looks better and it controls better, and that was pretty much my argument at the time too. It was just a more fun game to play, and yeah, with remastered out or remake out, whatever they're calling it, I gotta say this is not true anymore.
I mean, that only makes sense. It's probably like over a decade in between the original and then like this remaster remake, whatever it is.
Yeah, I gotta say the upgrading of the visuals helps a lot with taking the story seriously, for one thing. Not that there are older games that I can take seriously too, but for this one in particular, with how realistic it is presented, it definitely helps.
See that? I don't remember how the original looked as pencil. We were like young teenagers, I think, when like it was coming out, and I watched like PewDiePie play it on YouTube.
Yeah, I feel I never watched
Like young,
any.
like yeah, it
Was that?
was like we were like young teenagers. I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, I was definitely not like when it came out. Isn't even when I first played it. I first played it in 2019, but that was already 4 years ago. So, and when it first came out, I just didn't play like anything that wasn't a platformer. So that explains
Yeah.
that.
We were always big on those.
Yep. And number 3, Well, I don't know. I honestly don't think my old number 3 has changed, but the problem is it was just kind of a list of game series I couldn't get into. And, among those is like Halo, Zelda, a bunch of super popular shit that people would be mad at me about. I still haven't gotten into any of the lists that I can remember, but I guess there's not much to discuss there.
Yeah, just the opinion is you couldn't. There were a lot of big popular series you couldn't get into.
Yeah, basically, and I just kind of rattled a bunch off, and I can't even remember them all. But I know we will talk about at least one of the Zelda games at some point today, so we can just save that for then.
Oh, is it the one you very, very disliked?
I don't. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't even see. I just blocked that one out of my memory, and that would be Twilight Princess. Um, which what? As many times as I play the Zelda games, and like I'm comfortable with my opinion, these aren't for me. Like I still feel like I need to keep giving them a chance, and I really want to be into them. Maybe it'll happen someday. I still need to play. I still need to try Ocarina, and I'm particularly interested in Majora's Mask. But I've heard Majora's Mask would probably be bad to start with. I'm still curious.
Yeah, I know. I'd get flamed for that, but that's one that I know Majora's Mask is like a really very loved title. I've never been able to get on board with it because of the whole time thing. Like, yeah, I know it. Yeah, like there's that. Like I do know you can rewind time. It's just like, especially growing up, I was just something I could never get behind. I just felt like it was too much and just preferred Ocarina of Time anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, I've wanted to try Ocarina of Time since like we were very little, and I went to your house like one time and you were playing it, and for some reason that memory just sticks with me because I was like, oh, that looks fun. But then I've never actually been able to try that one. I've tried other titles and just couldn't get into it. But even despite what you just said about Majora's Mask, I'm curious because I know it has like the slight, like gothic kind of horror slant to it, which that interests me. So that's more of why I'm interested in that one. But anyway, yeah, we will talk about at least one Zelda later because of my list. So I'll move on. At number 2, I'm like half and half on this. My old number 2 on my list was that PT is not a game, which I still
I feel like a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people forget that there was either I want to say it was like a demo or a tech demo or something like that.
Yeah, it's PT,
which I guess is the same thing.
It stands for playable teaser. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, being a big fan of the Silent Hill series myself, I always see people talking about how it's like the best Silent Hill game, people who haven't even played the old ones, or talking about how it's like the best game that's come out in the last 10 years or the best horror game of all time. And I'm just like, but it's not a game. I mean, it is just, it is just a demo, and it gets this unreal praise because we never got the final game, which might have had a lot more flaws,
Yeah, exactly. I would say even if you want to, like go along that it's a game, I'd say it was really well made and it does keep you kind of on the edge. But saying it's the best, all time, it was never had the chance to live up to its potential.
Exactly. We'll never know for sure. That said, the other half of this was that it's overrated, and that's where I might not agree with my old self. I haven't gotten to play it yet, but I actually ordered a PS4 with it pre-installed just so I can play it, and I'm playing through the other games right now, and I'm excited for it because there's a lot of
that cost me a little bit.
Surprisingly, like I don't even know. Maybe I got like a hacked PS4 or something fake, and if that's the case, I don't even care. I just want to play the game on a PS4. So, but it wasn't as much as I thought it would be. It was about the price of a used PS4.
You think having PT would jack it up a bit?
I think it did at one point, or like I said, I could just have like a hacked PS4 or some shit that isn't worth as much because it's not legit. Or maybe it's legit and I got lucky. I really can't tell, and I'm not going to question it much. But I'm looking forward to playing it. I do think it is great for what it is, which is a playable teaser. I don't want to shit on the game. I just don't think it's. I just called it a game. That's not helping my point. But I don't think it's a full game. Anyway,
It has potential that never got to see the light of day.
exactly, I just think it gets off easy because of how short it is and how unrealized it was. It just, yeah. Anyway, I could talk in circles, so I'll keep going. And the last one that topped my old list was something that you and I actually are on the same page about. And there's also no reason really to go too far into this one. That's console over PC. And that doesn't mean it's better or whatever. It's a preference.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's always just been a preference. I mean, people make us see like much more than that.
Yeah, I really don't care about the like objectivities of it. I'm just saying I prefer sitting on my couch, holding a PlayStation controller on a big TV. That's the way I like to play.
I know they'll always argue that like, oh, you could do that with a PC, which is cool, and that's awesome that you can do that.
Agree, yeah.
But consider that you can drop half the money and get at least nowadays, you can get a pretty relative powered console, for like half the price, and you could do it and you sit on your couch with like your buddies, or whoever.
Yeah, and I mean,
you don't have to upgrade.
No, and it depends like what you're into also, because, I mean, for if you're not into the library that's only available on PC, then like there's no reason why you can't just use a console to play what you want to play. Like if you only play games that are readily available on console, there's no real reason for you to go out of your way to spend so much for a great like PC build to play it looking better or whatever on a smaller screen in a chair.
Yeah, get uncapped 200 frames.
Yeah. And then
not shooting on PC. It's just a lot of it just feels unnecessary especially for the price effort you're putting into it.
No, I agree. And whenever I tell people, oh, I like to sit on my couch and look at my big screen and this, everyone's like, got their rebuttal. Well, you could just plug your fucking PC into your TV and then bring your keyboard and mouse over to your couch, or like plug in a game controller and then you can basically just play PC on your TV. Look, I don't care. I like the separate worlds. Leave me alone.
It's one of those things where you have a lot of video games like Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield.
Yeah.
A lot of those, they're made for consoles. It kind of makes sense. And then they get either ported or kind of like, they add on PC later. That's like, but if you have something like the Steam library, like that's like a gold mine of unique shit that you can't get on console.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the flames often don't even come from our side. It's always the PC side that's like, what the fuck does anyone use console?
Exactly. It's like, bro, play what you want to play. Like, I don't care. You shouldn't attack others for their preference.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I did have like, I was gonna say, despite everyone always saying how you can just hook your shit up to your TV and plug in a game controller, like everyone always says, yeah, you can do that, but I've never seen a PC player do that. So I mean, it's clearly not a common thing.
I don't think it's too complicated. I think it's just
it's not complicated. Yeah, just I've never any friend I've ever had who says that PC is better and that I can just hook up to my TV doesn't do that. it's obviously not the preferred PC method for some reason.
So why don't you do it then?
Yeah. Well, I guess they like to sit at a chair with a smaller screen. And you know what? Whatever. Cool.
They have a good gaming chair.
Yeah, I mean, I have a nice chair, but nothing's gonna beat the couch for me. All right. That took up some time. I guess we should get to the real list then for today.
Present lists.
Yes. I'm guessing you haven't thought of your third one yet.
Of course not.
So I don't know how you want to conduct this. Usually I would go back and forth, like I'll tell one, then you, and back and forth. But with you only having two at this point, I guess you can tell me what you want to do. Do you want me to rattle a few off and then we do the last two back and forth, or do you like? I feel like I'm dominating the discussion already.
That's fine.
Or do you want to give one now and then give one a bit more towards the end?
Shit.
I'd say whatever works.
Yeah. Yeah, I could start at least one of them,
Sounds good.
and then let you go, and then maybe during your 5 or however many I can think of something.
Hey, and if you don't, that's cool too. I'd say go for it. Do your first one.
Alright, my first one, and we kind of mentioned it earlier, but games are not for everyone, and that should be okay. And the main example, and this come to mind, would be the Souls games. It's weird that that's even like a hot topic controversy, like on the internet as it is. Like, if you get like, people feel like if you buy a game, you're entitled to be good at it and to have everything.
Entitled to
I feel like
be good at it.
It's like, yeah, I feel like it's okay for a game just to not be for you. Like, they have their intended audiences and their niche players.
Right. No, yeah, okay.
And
Oh, sorry, I don't want
like
to
I
cut
said,
you
that,
off.
there you go. Like I said, that was just like one example. Like, that's like the big example that comes to mind is like, and like I said, you mentioned earlier, like, you want to like Zeldas, you just can't vibe with them, and that's okay. Like you get like, you get heat for that if you say stuff like that.
Oh shit! I think you dropped out towards the end of the sentence, but you're saying you get shit out for that online if you say something like that on like Twitter or something, like just social media.
Yeah, just like like this game not for everyone. It's like, well, it should be. It's just like a big controversial topic. For like no reason.
I
It
totally
would be like that.
I totally
World, man.
agree with you. And that said, there are some of my list that I'll just be like, I don't like this game or something like that. But I guess that's a good disclaimer that ultimately, like, no one's trying to stop anyone. At least we're not trying to stop anyone from playing games we don't enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. So if you like what you like, I'll power to you. But like, if you don't,
That's okay too.
Yeah, and I think it's also okay just to discuss or like, give critique of games, but at the end of the day it's just if you can enjoy it, that's all that matters.
it's there to have fun.
And I'm with you on the Soulsborne thing because I tried Demon Souls and like, well, I don't even know if you said you weren't into it. I know you don't play them, but I tried, Demon Souls on the PS5, and I'm not gonna say I gave it like the most valiant effort in the world, but I thought it was cool for what it was, and I decided it probably wasn't for me pretty quickly. If I fall down that rabbit hole one day, then good for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of feel like I was a similar level for Souls, where I tried Dark Souls 3 because you bought it for me. I remember why. I think you just wanted to see how I would do on it.
I wanted to see if you would like it because there was the Game Shed series that Skylar played it, and it was like his favorite like series just ever. It probably still is. So I wanted to see what you thought, because I've always known you as the game guy.
Yeah. Like, I did like it, and from what I understand, I did pretty decent for like first time. But it was like, I did kind of like the wall, where you gotta get good. But like the way I was viewing it, I was getting really angry and frustrated, and working a full time job. I work all day. I come home. I want to relax and have fun, not pissed off. It was just kind of like, I don't want to say it wasn't for me, but like it wasn't for me on like a technicality, just because like
Yeah.
I don't like being.
It like cut off again, kind of, but this is the thing with
Yeah.
Discord is that it has that like adaptive fucking noise cancellation, so it's cutting off like probably more than we want it to. Maybe we'll try like Zoom next time or something, but for today I think we can infer what your sentence is.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching. I think it only cut out angry.
Okay, well that's good that you can tell when it cuts things out. But yeah, I'm with you on this one. I also actually usually, well, okay, so I don't know. I don't have the great best frame of reference for this, but like whenever a new Resident Evil game comes out, I always play it on standard first. But I'm just I'm playing through all the Silent Hill games right now, and when I'm doing that, I'm playing on easy whenever I can.
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, some of them are just badly made, and I don't want to like they're notorious for half the series being terrible, and I don't want to deal with it being shitty on like a harder difficulty. But also just like there are a lot of games where if it's not a style that I'm comfortable with, I will prefer the easy mode or like assisted or whatever you have on my first playthrough, especially if it's the type of game where there's already something going against it for me, like if that makes sense. So I don't want to get super pissed off at a game and not have fun either. I think we're the same there.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that particular example. Like I said, I just couldn't get into Dark Souls 3 is because like I wanted to enjoy it and I didn't want to be angry, and I was getting angry.
It's like the Crash Bash, but yeah, and I have games like that. I think when it's more challenging, it's more fun, and that I want to overcome the challenge. I'm definitely not saying like that challenge in a game is a bad thing, but it really all just depends on the game and if it frustrates me personally or
Absolutely.
not. So yeah, it's always going to come down to if you find it frustrating or like in a good way of being challenging.
Yeah, it definitely matters. Game too. The genre.
Absolutely. All right. Do you want me to go on to one, or did you have more for this one?
I had more. I mean, I had another comment about what you said about difficulty.
Yeah, go for it.
It's not really an popular opinion, but I've actually always done the same thing with games too. Especially like Halo, that comes to mind first. Because obviously when I was like little, I'd do easy, but then I would go up to normal as I grew up and started getting better at games. Yeah, like I always play on the lower difficulty first because like I always want to get in the story first, actually enjoy it.
That's a great point too.
And then go back and take on the challenge and the harder difficulty. Yeah, for that example specifically, like Halo, Halo is a little bit more story driven, unlike some other game. Like I want to enjoy that.
Right. And for me, again, I know I just said, but like for me, that's Resident Evil, where that's one of the only series where the modern games kind of all play the same. So I always choose standard first for those. But I honestly, like, for me, it's the other way on like subsequent runs when I'm trying to do like trophies and stuff. I just play on assisted. Like I feel no need to prove anything past like playing the first run on standard.
Yeah. A lot of games also do unfortunately turn off like achievements or trophies on lower difficulties, which sucks. I think it's very few. I don't think that many do that now.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that there are some games that are like just tailored where some of the trophies are just to beat the game on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
Which is fine too. I mean, if you want to go for the trophy, then I guess get good and play for the trophy. But it's nice to not have to do that. Like games that don't have a difficulty setting are becoming, I think, more rare, which is probably good.
Yeah, which I think is fine too. I mean, like, having a tailored experience that does get challenging over time, I test what you've learned and like skills as a player. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on this one. I guess. Wait, what was like the base take that was? I already forgot.
They're just not all games are for everyone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would definitely agree with that overall. I guess let me know whenever we're done with one and I can move on.
Besides other examples, I think that's pretty much it for that. I mean, like I said, yeah, Dark Souls is just kind of the biggest one because I feel like that's the most controversial one. You'll see, like, whenever there's a new entry, people talk like it's like the first thing people talk about is like it's too hard, I can't play it. Just stuff like that, like every single time.
Right. And there's other, yeah, of course there's other big examples that I mean I don't have any offhand because I guess because this wasn't my topic, so I didn't take notes on it. But I know there are just tons of games that just clearly aren't going to appeal to everyone, and that's okay.
It'd be okay.
All right.
Whatever you want to do yours.
I guess I'll go on. I'll do one of mine, and then I mean I have 5. I could do a few if you want. I guess we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, you can do 2.
Yeah, if you think of a different thing to talk about or a different opinion, just speak up. But here we go. My number 5 for today ties right back into what we were just talking about in a way. Except it's specific to the community where I have said I prefer modern Resident Evil to classic Resident Evil. I don't even know. Are you even familiar with like classic Resident Evil?
Like over the shoulder, like tanky kind of stuff, like the originals before like they start going all actiony.
Well, so
Is that what you mean? Or?
In the originals on like PS1 and well, I mean mostly on PS1 actually, and N64, like that generation, they were not over the shoulder. They were
Oh yeah, the third person, the room point of view.
Yeah, fixed camera angles.
The fixed camera, yeah.
Fixed camera and tank controls. This is what classic Resident Evil is known for. And I'll say there are a lot of people who especially in like subreddit and places like that. I guess I'll specify most people just kind of like the old ones and the new ones. But for me, like, if I'm honest, there's just like I get stressed out thinking about playing like because I've played the very first one and I got through it up until the end and then I couldn't kill the final boss and I just gave up. But I would say the reason I haven't played 2 or 3 yet, like the classic ones, despite being like really into I love the remake of 2 and the remake of 3 was whatever, which is also why I want to go back and play the original 3 because people don't really like the remake, so I want to see what I'm missing, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly get stressed with the fixed camera and tank control thing. So this follows up to not every game is for everyone. I probably I do plan to play them anyway, and I might just get used to it, and then later I'll be like, oh, who cares? But as it is actively deterring me and has been actively deterring me from trying them for a few years now, which makes me want to talk about it. That might be funny because people think Silent Hill plays very similarly. Like the first game of Silent Hill, I have no problem. Or the second or third, which also have like the tank controls. The reason for that is I feel like Silent Hill does have a somewhat fixed camera, but it's much more free moving than Resident Evil in contrast. And there's also a lack of like super dangerous enemies that are gonna like one shot you or something. Like in all the Resident Evil games, you have to be really fucking stressed and anxious about everything because an enemy could just pop up and kill you really fucking quickly, which doesn't really happen in Silent Hill. It's a lot more forgiving. So it's,
I would say I feel.
Oh, sorry, go.
I would say I think it's because they are very similar genres, but like different enough. Yeah, like Resident Evil's like survival action.
Yeah, and they're different types of horror for sure. Because I mean, they fall under survival horror, but yeah, Resident Evil is like guns blazing and shit. Even like the ones that like the old ones, of course, have limited ammo, so it's not like 4 where it's just consistently action filled, or 4, 5, or 6. But there's still just more of an emphasis on the like excitement of it. And Silent Hill is very slow, and it kind of creeps you out. It's like a totally different approach at horror.
Yeah.
And
it's mysterious.
Yeah, there's no enemies in that are gonna that you're gonna like get fucked up by the camera and then you're gonna die. Like that never happened to me in Silent Hill really. And like, you know, it's okay if you do die once or twice, but actually I did try playing Resident Evil 2, the classic one, and I died like 10 times just trying to get to the station, and then I gave up because I was like, yeah, I don't think I can do the full game if I can't get to the station. And then I went on the subreddit recently. Everyone's saying that that's like the easiest Resident Evil game, so I'm like, cool. I guess
well, fuck me.
and they're saying like the first one's the hardest, but I played the first one. Maybe it's because I had the advantage because I played the remake of the first one also, but I don't know. So I'm gonna revisit it anyway. But more things I wanted to add for why I prefer the classic or the modern versions. In the originals, there's the ink ribbon saving, which is if you're not familiar, you have to find items, which are ink ribbons, to save your game. And you save the game in certain rooms in the mansion that you have to get familiar with. So it's undoubtedly like a big aspect of the game is that it stresses you out, it makes you anxious, and there's kind of more of a fear that you're going to lose progress more than anything else. Which, going back to what we were saying, when you're trying to like have a good time with a game, doesn't help. So the reason I pointed that out is losing several minutes of progress if you fuck something up has been enough before to make me just turn the game off entirely. And last time I tried to do the remake, which I've done successfully a handful of times, but the last time I got particularly far and then died, and it took me back to the beginning, and I just shut it off and didn't go back to it because it's frustrating to lose that much progress.
Yeah, hours worth of.
Huh?
Yeah, hours worth of time just gone.
Yeah, even minutes is enough to like be annoying if it's like 20 minutes or something. Like,
yeah,
it just makes you want to shut it off and then maybe not even go back to it. And then I said I don't feel like I need to go into depth about the new games and why I prefer them because I don't think it's unpopular to like the new games.
yeah, everyone seems to love those two new ones.
Yeah, I'm not.
What, 7 and 8 now?
7, 8, and then the remakes of 2 and 4 are all like super like good. I guess people have some discourse about 8, but I think it's pretty good. So yeah, I guess that's that. I just prefer modern Resident Evil. And I guess I'll do a second one quick while we're here. So my number 4, and these are kind of the order that I came up with them. Usually I put things in order, but I don't know if this is necessarily in order. So, okay, number 4 is that games should have a clear objective. How do you feel about this?
I think I can go either way, to be honest. I think game matters, and I think context matters. Like, sometimes, I think a big one for me recently is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That, that one has a lot of quest markers where it's like, hey, go here and do this. But a lot of them where it's just do this. Sometimes that really sucks, and I don't do that because I don't want to figure it out. But like sometimes if you can, like it is satisfying to have found context clues and like figured it out. But, like I do think it matters like the context, like the genre of the game.
So are you talking about extra? Because I haven't played it. Are you talking about like just extra side things, or are you talking about things that you need to do to complete the game?
I feel like most of the time it is like side content, which is why it doesn't really bother me too much. It's like, I would want to do it. If I can't, it's not impacting my main experience.
Right. Well,
even though, like I said, that's just like the one recent example.
Yeah, well, the funny thing here is that I cited 2 games, and one of them is the first Legend of Zelda, which is, or the first Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because in my opinion, it doesn't give me enough context to do anything. Like if I'm not really familiar with the series. People say you don't need to be familiar with any of the other games to play it and anything. But
yeah, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are kind of unique like that. Like you don't need any prior knowledge from the rest of the series. Mainly helped that it's off the time that it's made. They're made up timeline, so it's like its own complete unique thing. It does reference things from the other games, but it's like completely new. Makes sense.
Yeah, and one thing I want to just claim right now is that I am just bad at those games. Like so. I might say something stupid because I just don't get it, but I would just say, yeah, I don't have enough context where I can get anything done, and I just eventually give up whenever I do try to play something like Breath of the Wild. Um, like for example, just like finding a bunch of items, whether it's like weapons or like random like berries or really anything. Like
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with anything because I don't have any familiarity with the world and the. I guess like a lot of people are just better at figuring it out, or they sit on their phone and they're
Yeah.
like looking things up as they go, which I don't love to do. I love to just be able to immerse myself in a game without any outside help, preferably. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that particular example, I do feel like Breath of the Wild. You need to. I feel like you almost like need to have that creativity to know how to use your tools, kind of scenario like situation. Like Tears of the Kingdom, I do think remedies that a little bit, like with the abilities. Like you could pretty much do like anything with anything, but you're only limited by your creativity. But yeah, I do feel like Breath of the Wild. There was a lot more. Just there's a lot more stuff like that where it's like, what do I do with this? And even if once you do it, it's pretty much gone. I don't know. I feel like stuff sucked to get
Stuff.
back in.
It sucked to get stuff. It sucked in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, to like gather, like you're getting all these weapons, and, like food,
Yeah.
and it's like gone.
Yeah, exactly. And I like so my thing with that game is I just didn't feel like I was progressing ever, and I played it. I
Yeah,
gave it a fair shake, and it's all just because I didn't know what I'm supposed to be doing, which goes back to the point of why I think games should have a clear objective. Because I know
yeah. I think it's.
what's that?
I do think it's mainly because these two new ones are very. They're a sandbox. Like, here's the world. There's stuff. You can do stuff with that stuff. Do it however you want, whenever you want, and it's kind of lets the players go. And I think that for certain people that can be to a detriment, like you.
Yeah, but not to most people. Most people are absolutely on board with these. So I know I'm in the minority here. That's why this is unpopular. And people just generally think they're being like treated like a baby if any game like tells them what to
Yeah.
do. And like that is less straightforward to me. Like there's sometimes where I agree and there's sometimes I disagree with that. It really depends like what it is. In Breath of the Wild, I feel like I needed a bit more of a push to get going in the right direction personally, but that's
Yeah.
just me.
I mean, like the Tears of the Kingdom tutorial is like 4 to 6 hours long. And that's with knowing what you're doing.
And interestingly, you told me not long ago that you, after all the time had passed, you weren't as big on Breath of the Wild as you used to be, but now you think Tears of the Kingdom is like the best one in the series or something?
uh,
Or did something
we'll say,
change?
yeah, we'll say I don't know if I would say Tears of the Kingdom is the best, but can say with confidence that like at the time I thought Breath of the Wild was really fun. I thought it was really cool. I actually even played it for like on the plane like the first time I came up to visit Los Angeles, and it was really fun. Like new world, like how big it was beautiful.
Mhm.
It was just kind of like I feel like it just didn't age very well to me, especially the boss fights, like the yeah, just all the Calamity Ganons and Calamity Ganon itself, the Beast Ganon, just kind of all just didn't really sit with me as time went on.
But you
I
think?
felt like,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I felt like just Tears of the Kingdom did, Breath of the Wild did, but more, bigger, and better because it brought back like traditional temples style temples, and final boss was actually I don't know if you
If I what?
care about spoilers.
Oh, I mean, I guess I don't know. Should I try it, or is it like if I hated Breath of the Wild, would I just not like that, or do you think it's worth it to give it a try?
I think I think I would recommend trying it. At the same time, I think you could get overwhelmed,
It's very possible.
especially because there's like a memory system. Because there's it's the Legend of Zelda, so there's time travel shenanigans. So that there are memories you can find throughout Hyrule, and I admit I am guilty. I know you said you don't like looking on your phone, but I'm guilty of being on my phone to find the order you should do them in. So these flashbacks made sense to me because they will not tell you the order of what to do them in. They just say, "Hey, there's these things. Go do them." Get a flashback, and it's like, so you could
Hooray!
get like the beginning of the flashback, and then you could stumble across this other thing, and suddenly you're seeing the end, and it's like, and that kind of.
That kind of sucks. Yeah. I would.
Especially if you care about the story,
I would
like
say.
having that linear progression.
I would say I guess don't spoil it then, because I probably will try it. I have the history of giving Zelda multiple tries, and so I'll probably see if I can make that one work. Maybe I think one day the series will just click for me, but as it is, still hasn't happened. I would love to go play through them all as long as I was enjoying it.
Yeah. I think I just had
Oh, sorry,
a
what?
lot of fun. I'll say I think I just had a lot of fun with this one. It's hard to recommend because just how big in scope it is.
Right, yeah, it's very long, I've heard, which I also like that. It's just I gotta be on board for just the general gameplay loop and everything.
Yeah, and I feel like a game like that, you can't just you feel like you just can't blaze through the story. Like you have to like experience it.
Right. I guess the other half of this, because like I said, I seem alone with Breath of the Wild and not feeling like I have enough to work with. Another game I wanted to mention, which I ended up loving, is Outer Wilds, which I played recently. I said it's great, but I ended up ruining it a lot for myself out of feeling too stupid to figure out what to do. And I wanted to note that unlike Breath of the Wild, which I seem alone, this is actually very common. I'm in the subreddit for Outer Wilds, and like every day, I see someone in there that says like, "I ruined the story and I regret it," because the game does not give you any direction, and that is what people love about it, and that it is like a beautiful game and story to figure out on your own and discover things at your own pace. And when it all comes together, it is very rewarding. I agree with all of that, but if you're not used to something like it, then you are not going to have a good time. Like if you don't know anything about anything, which is I guess the approach you're supposed to have, you'll probably end up looking things up and just ruining shit for yourself, and that's not fun. Not fun for anyone. So I did cite that as another example, even though I do love the game, and I feel like it'd be fun to show that game to people, but like someone at the helm needs to know what they're doing. Unless like there are of course a lot of people who figure it out, and I guess they just have more intuition than I do for that type of thing. It is what it is.
And sometimes solving stuff's like part of the experience.
Yeah, in that game specifically, all you can do is kind of fly around and read, and then explore. Like there's no it's very hard to know if you're making progress or not. I've also seen people who are making good progress and then go in the subreddit and they're like, I've done this, 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 and this. I'm like 20 hours in. I feel like I'm missing something, and everyone's just kind of replying, no, you're doing great. You're doing exactly what you should be doing. But the fact that you can still feel like you're not doing something right is probably because it's very hard to know if you're making progress in the game because you don't really know what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, very interesting game. I love that game. If that's your type of thing, definitely recommend. And if it's not your thing, I recommend maybe like a let's play if you're gonna get super confused, because just don't spoil the story for yourself, just like I did. That's all I would say. I mean, did you want me to do one more, or did you want to do your second one? Because I guess after you do that one, it's all me.
Yeah, I could do another one.
All right, let's do it.
I guess it's kind of related to my first one, but it, I don't even know how I'm gonna like put this, but like
Whenever you're ready.
the companies just marketing in their games. Yeah, I guess that kind of goes with my last one. God damn it! It just games. Yeah. It's, God damn it! Yeah, but gaming marketing not being for you. And
Game
I guess let me
marketing?
Yeah, like I said, like it's basically my first one. I'm such an idiot.
Well, I don't know. No, I think it's a different it's a different angle at least, because we weren't talking about marketing before.
Yeah, like it's kind of intertwined, but like taking a step back before the game even comes out, and it's a kind of a hill I've stood on since Fallout 76 came out.
Oh,
And what?
oh yeah. Oh, so you're mostly saying don't kind of make up your mind about a game until it's out.
Let me elaborate a little bit more.
Go for
basically, does the market it as, regardless of how the game came out, they marketed it as Fallout, but online with your friends.
Yeah.
And from the get-go, people hated that.
Wait, what was that?
And they...
You said from the get-go something?
Yeah, from the get-go, people like hated the idea of the F-76, like online, all the time, massive MMO. Like they hated the idea of it being online. They just wanted another single-player Fallout game, which is valid to want. I enjoyed Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, but they marketed it as an online game, and for some reason, people. They gave so much backlash. They didn't want it. They wanted it to change. And just...
Oh, right.
It's weird that...
You're kind of on the side of the game here, right?
Yeah, that like...
You think that didn't deserve all the flack. That's that's an unpopular opinion in itself. So...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, regardless of how the game actually came out, it's just... I feel like, they market it as an online game, and if you don't want to play an online Fallout game, don't buy it, and I feel that should be fine. The whole point is the company is trying to sell you a product. If you don't want the product, don't buy the product. That seemed like back then in like 2019, I believe, is when it came out. It was like so controversial. It was like people had to buy it, like they were having their wrist twisted, If that makes sense. Now that I've
right, so basically when a series is like going a direction people don't like, and then they get mad about that instead of just not playing it, letting people enjoy it who do want that.
It's literally just speak with your wallet, and if you don't want it, don't buy it. Don't give them your money.
That makes sense. I think that's a different type of point to make. I guess Yeah, I feel like I can only talk about two games, but I would relate it to what's happening with Silent Hill right now because they have like 3 or 4 games coming out soon. Uh, that they announced last year, and there's a bunch of people who are already saying that like all of them are going to be bad without any like actual context. Like we've seen very little of any of them because none of them have even been officially like announced with a release date yet. It's just like we know.
Yeah, that's way too early to make judgment.
Yeah, we've seen like teaser trailers and we've like heard like interviews from the companies or like just quotes, press quotes, but like there's so little to go off of. Um, like we know Bloober Team is making Silent Hill 2, and I personally am not a fan of Bloober Team. So like I get people can speculate, oh, this probably won't be good because Bloober Team isn't good. But I just think you need to reserve a lot of judgment for until it's actually like comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you haven't seen anything about it. Like no trailers, no teasers,
Yeah,
even a release date. Like yeah, just deciding it's bad before anything. Just yeah.
I'm honestly guilty of it with one of them's called Ascension, and that one seems to be the one that's coming out the soonest. Cause like that one actually is getting like some trailers, but everyone's kind of confused and feeling negatively about it already, including me. So I guess that goes against. That makes me kind of a hypocrite because I do agree with you, but also they're making a game that's I guess like Until Dawn style, except it's Silent Hill, and it's not actually a real game. It's like a stream that you can participate in by voting online, and everyone's like, and like they're trying to do something new in quotes, like so everyone's feeling like this doesn't sound good. And then I guess a trailer came out and it looks very like Americanized, and people are not hyped for it, and I'm not exactly hyped for it either, but I do want to say generally I agree.
Sounded a little strange.
It's a strange direction to take it, but I guess we haven't seen it yet, so we should wait.
Hmm. Did want to add on to my point about like giving if some people say feedback about what something they don't want. I do think that is fine, especially in a live service game. Like I'm a big player of Destiny 2. I did play 76. I played Anthem before it got canceled.
Oh, I didn't even know it got canceled.
EA pulled the plug because even though BioWare was working on a big update, but that's the whole thing on its own.
I knew it wasn't
And
doing well. I knew you were disappointed when
yeah.
that one came out too.
That one hurt because I was such a big Mass Effect fan that like I literally have a Mass Effect tattoo now. And like this Mass Effect meant a lot to me. Hearing that they were doing something new, moving into a new IP, it was live service. I was big into Destiny even then. I was like, cool, another live service game that I could play all the time. And then like even the trailers looked good. It looked fun. I played it. The gameplay alone to this day is still some of the funnest. Just play. Just the problem is
The story?
once you get, oh yeah, the story wasn't great, but in the end game there wasn't much to do. It was like once you did it and you got the best like armor equipment, there wasn't much else to do. So it was just kind of like you would hit a wall.
I find it interesting that the story wasn't great because it's from the Mass Effect team and everyone still loves that story except the end. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on those games too soon because there is a version that I can play on the PS5 that's pretty updated. I'm excited.
I do think Anthem was one of those victims of a lot of Eternal shit, like being scrapped, restarted, different leads and stuff like that. Like, I do think was a victim of that, but it's been so many years I don't.
That makes sense. Yeah,
The classic bad development cycle.
developmental hell. Yeah, it happens.
But it's even just crazy that it launched in such a state that it's remembered for having some of the best gameplay in the industry, but that's about all it's remembered.
So the main problem is that there wasn't enough to do.
Yeah, I was like, once you beat the story and you did the end game content, which is really common with live service games. Because once you did the end game content, like you did it, you grinded through it, you got the best weapons, armor, gear. That was it. There wasn't anything else to chase, so there was no reason to play other than just playing it.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna which I think is fine in of itself to just play a game for fun. But when it's a live service, they need to be able to keep adding content.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I thought that's the point of that from the way you described Destiny.
Yeah. And I think they were struggling to get. I think they did add stuff, but the community was the player base was so content hungry and starved that they just blew through it immediately. And then I think then paired with the big overhaul they were trying to do to make the game better, it just kind of EA just kind of pulled the plug on them, and the game got shut down. You can still play it, but
yeah,
since it's in that same state, nothing's changed.
They weren't really ready for it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. A part of me, it's upsetting seeing that happen in BioWare. At the same time, they were a single player or deep story-driven, character-driven game, and then EA told them, "Hey, make a live service multiplayer game." They gave it to the wrong. I think they just gave it to the
wrong development or developers.
Yeah, it just wasn't their thing. It wasn't their specialty.
Yeah, it's studios always fucking ruin shit. I mean, that's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, it's EA. I mean.
Yeah, there you go.
That speaks enough for itself.
Konami, to bring it back to Silent Hill. There's a reason there's so many bad ones. And it's not because the original team was incompetent. They were very good. But I guess in the interest of time and just that is kind of close to my next one, I could go with my next one. I could just rattle off my last three, I guess, unless you had more.
I think that was it.
All right, sweet. So, yeah, this one might put us at odds, so it'd be interesting to hear your take, because my number three, and again, it's not saying these are bad, just my unpopular opinion is that I don't like it. I don't like online games, pretty much in the general, but in the vein of CSGO, Call of Duty, Battle Royale style games, and I put in parentheses Destiny might qualify with a question mark. Basically games that are time consuming with no end. I don't know. I put that in quotes. These are maybe bad habit games. I had Jonah, my friend, just actually sold his Xbox apparently after he just bought it recently because he was apparently playing too much Call of Duty online and it just made him unproductive. So I don't know. I think having a more contained story makes that less of a problem. And in my personal life, I don't know. I guess I think it's not good unless you have I think in your case it's fine because you split your time pretty evenly between being productive at work and then relaxing at home with a game. So for someone
you
with,
need to be able to have that.
What was that?
You need to be able to have that healthy balance.
Yeah, if
it
works with your schedule, then I guess it's not a problem. But if it's a problem, it's a problem, and it can easily be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess my view is you can just boot up one of those games and go all day because it's there's always going to be another round. If you had anything you wanted to say, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that vein, yeah, that's definitely a thing. Is you can just play all day, and I have been guilty of that on my days off. Like, if I have no errands to run, no cleaning, no like, just a day off, I can just sit down and play. Last few months, not so much, but yeah, I could just sit down and play like Destiny. More recently, a Diablo 4. I could just sit down and play those all.
Does
I do realize, do realize that is a problem. But yeah, on a normal day, like they go to work, you come home, clean, stuff like that, and then like sit down,
yeah, I know.
play for hours.
I know it's a way for a lot of people to just blow off steam and chill out. So that's fine. Mostly I just do prefer games with a story with a clear beginning and end. That I can do in X amount of hours and I can plan around it and whatever. But is Diablo 4 does have an ending, doesn't it? It's not just like never ending.
I think it is technically live service in the sense that like more stuff will come out and like season 1 has started since I last played. But yeah, there is like an end of the story, but then I think there's like a max difficulty you can go to, and then it unlocks like higher max difficulty dungeons that I think you can just kind of infinitely repeat and get gear.
Okay, so yeah, there's stuff you can repeat, but there is a clear ending before you start repeating it.
Yeah, like you beat the final, demon. Story's over until the seasonal story.
Okay, so I think that would classify outside of the games, the type of game I'm talking about, but it's like long games I think are okay too, as long as you know what you're in for, I guess. It's just like the games that literally don't end that you can basically become addicted to. That was kind of the type I was talking about. Those just aren't my thing personally.
Yeah, like I think I'd be a little different, but yeah, when I played like Red Dead Redemption 2, I think while I did have COVID, so it was a little unfair. So I was bedridden. Like I think I easily sunk like 100 hours into that before I even got to the ending.
Yeah, that one does at least have an end, I guess. Like, yeah, I wouldn't consider that or like Breath of the Wild because they do have endings. It could just take you a long time.
Even something like Red Dead, like you can keep playing it. But yeah, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, like when you hit the end screen, there is nothing after that. You just reload before the final battle.
Right. Okay, so yeah, I mentioned like CS:GO, COD, Battle Royale type, PUBG.
Yeah. VP.
And I guess Destiny maybe. My thing is the only other point I had for this was that a big problem is there's no room for beginners in these type of games. Like as far as I know, like it's not very accessible to people who haven't already just been doing it for a while.
Yeah, that's always been like a rough pain point. I've never really been able to have like a good suggestion for that.
Yeah, because I know like you and I tried Destiny together once, like a long time ago, and it's just
Destiny when it was still Destiny 1.
yeah, it was just like I had no idea what was going on. There's just so much to like catch up with, but.
And that was back in Destiny 1. Destiny 2 is so much worse for the new player.
Oh, I bet. I mean, that's what happens when the whole point of your game is just to make a continuous game for like over 10 years. Okay, now I'll get through the last two pretty quick, I guess. Just for time interest. Number 2, I guess we kind of talked about this towards the beginning a little bit for a second. My number 2, 60 FPS is more than enough. 4K is more than enough. They're two sides of the same point. So first off, I want to say I always hear people complain about 30 FPS, which I also think is just fine. What I think,
it's just
yeah, to me, the only thing I find important is that frame rate is consistent. People want crazy ass frame rates and then they complain about losing frames, but lower frame rates at least tend to be more reliable with consistency. So honestly, I'm gonna prefer
Oh, yeah.
the consistent frame rate.
Oh yeah, because these ball games are getting better, and like the current generation, they are moving to 60 frames per second. A lot of games were just simply developed with the 30 cap, like beforehand. So in case there was frame rate drops and stuff like that, so like it was stuck, so it was optimized for one thing,
And people,
not
yeah,
not through 30 to 500, which is ridiculous. Like things can even go that high.
yeah. I don't even know what it's up to, but people are. I'm starting to see people say like, "Oh, this sucks because it's not 120 frames per second." I'm like, come on. The people who care about shit like this just keep doubling it and like they're on to the next one.
I think it's like 60, or the human eye can't even perceive anything faster than that. I guess once you get to that range.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what it is, but I just wanted to say for me, 60 is more than enough. It even looked a little weird to me for a while being that smooth, but like now I'm used to it. 60's cool, 30's also cool.
It took me like a month to adjust to playing Destiny 2 at 60 frames per second. I've been playing Destiny 1 and Destiny 2
Yeah,
this entire time at 30 frames.
Yeah, it just has a whole different feel, which like it. I just don't think it's something that we need to get hung up on because I don't think it's like bad by any means. Obviously, I think it like having it smoother at 60. It can look nice. Nothing against 60 frames, but like shitting on stuff that's capped at 30 frames is just such like a non-issue to me. I don't know. It's just like people want to
It's
complain.
just people being nitpicking.
Yeah, it's like come on. Like
If your PC can handle higher numbers, cool, awesome. But it's like it doesn't need to.
yeah, and also like well, it's only games that we like care about this with. Also, like there's I think a movie that went. Oh yeah, that fucking one of these like Will Smith movies where it was him and his kid, and for some reason it was like it was some. I'm not gonna research it right now, but it was either like 60 or like 120. Like I don't know. It was like more frames per second. I hope I'm even talking about the right movie, but everyone just talked about how weird it looked and how it just like they preferred 24 frames per second, which is what movies are typically is 24.
Yeah.
And also I heard a lot of like complaints about these movies that are trying to do higher frame rates because there are frame drops, which it's like at that point, what's the point of trying to push it?
Exactly. Can't do it. It's just why push it.
Yeah, just chill with that. Okay, so on to the 4K point. So this one I'll freely admit because I've come around to 4K. I collect like movies and I strongly prefer 4Ks over Blu-rays, so I guess they beat me here. But so I just wanted to give that caveat that I might change my mind in time, but for now, I just think it's ridiculous. People are already talking about 8K, and I'm like, and when will it end?
We're a holographic.
When will enough be enough? I think games look and movies look, everything looks fucking phenomenal now. And I don't know what people are going to do when like you can't get better than what we have.
Exactly.
So that's that
We're gonna
point.
peak eventually.
That's that point. That was number 2. I think we're pretty much in agreement. Unless you had anything to add,
Yeah.
I'll just go on to my last one.
No, I agree with that.
All right. So this is me being a hypocrite to the first point you made that I talked about because I just straight up last point I had was Smash Bros is overrated and GTA is overrated.
I agree with that.
Huh?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with those.
Both of them?
Yeah, I can see that. Like obviously I do enjoy Smash Bros. We grew up playing it a lot, and like even apart I played a lot of 3DS and then Ultimate, but like I do enjoy it, but
Yeah,
I feel like it's held as like the greatest. I wouldn't say the greatest.
it
It's
kind
held
of
the highest,
is.
yeah,
It's
highest.
like to me. So here's the thing for me. Yeah, these are both good games, game series, whatever you want to call it. Which is like kind of what I'm going to cover in my first point. Uh, but I totally think I totally just spaced actually. But yeah, my first point was that both these series I lump them together because they're basically the same game with every new release, just like updated graphics.
Mhm.
I mean, uh, to be fair to Grand Theft Auto, like at least they make a new story for each game, but
Yeah.
with Smash Bros, they just gotten lazy at this point, and they don't even include like a story mode anymore. Sometimes not even like Ultimate didn't even have a classic mode. I'm like 90% sure. Um,
I think it. Yeah, I think it does. Oh, I think I could be. I haven't played it, so
I don't know if it does now. It didn't when it first came out, from what I remember. And I always loved playing the classic and adventure modes on Melee and on Brawl. Yes, even the Subspace Emissary. I guess people don't like Subspace Emissary. Makes
yeah,
sense.
that's an unpopular opinion out of itself.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that people don't like it because if that was just like a game that came out, it's really bad. But if you're playing it with a
Yeah.
friend and you're just playing it as like an optional aspect of a game, then yeah, the multiplayer Subspace Emissary can just be a lot of fun if you feel like playing Smash and you don't want to just do the like brawl mode or whatever it's called, the main mode.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, what universe is Mario and Link gonna be fighting like, random monster?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like the thing is, it just feels like randomly generated. Like it's honestly like the level design is super lazy and everything is. If that was a game on its own, I wouldn't really be defending it. But I think it's fun to play with a friend, and I liked having the option. But I think with four, and I mean four, I think did have a classic mode, but then four and Ultimate didn't have any like adventure mode. They didn't put any effort in beyond just classic brawl or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Um,
I know Ultimate had like that weird like board game light world thing, and it's like I couldn't get behind it. I played it for a little bit and just kind of I wasn't feeling.
you weren't feeling it. I don't even know if I know about that one or if I tried it or if I just don't remember it. But Smash is like obviously the one that is just the same every time. And I was thinking about it because I read that apparently there was recent news. I don't know if it's gonna end up being true or not, but I guess there's gonna be yet another one, even though they said that would be the last one.
Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's a cash cow.
Yeah. And like it to me, it's a very like obvious cash cow. I buy them every time they come out, just like everyone else. I'm always sucked into it, which I will say about Grand Theft Auto also. But the thing with Grand Theft Auto is, what five came out in like 2014 or 15. Like it's been so long.
I think,
It's still
so I think like 2013 or something. Like, yeah, we were still in like high school.
yeah. And I bought it when it came out, just like I did with four when I was pretty young too. So I always buy them when they come out, but I always realize very soon after, like within an hour, why I like don't really care for those games that much.
Yeah.
uh
I did it. Like I did enjoy five, and for me personally, it was an improvement on four. Like I didn't really vibe with four when I played it at your place. Like I did like five, and I did like the campaign, however you want to refer to that.
yeah,
It was just
I know people like
way they
the
just
campaign, but like I think because of the online, it's still like one of the top games like on PS5 like 10 years later.
yeah. I was gonna say it's been on three different generations of consoles. Yeah, PS3, yeah, Xbox, yeah, 360, Xbox One, PS4, and now you have the Xbox Series X and the PS5.
And I guess that just goes back to me not liking online games, and that they don't end. But yeah, it's just been up there forever. And I I don't think I ever even really tried the story on five. So maybe I should shut up in that regard. But I did do this.
It was fun, but no, I wouldn't say it's anything groundbreaking. But it's fun.
I did do the story on 4, and I did like a good amount of the one on Vice City when I was young and played that. But I think the stories are fine. It's definitely what does. Like, Grand Theft Auto at least has a story in each release. Like, it doesn't just say, go fuck shit up. Like, it doesn't pull the smash in that regard. But, yeah, just both these series, they generally feel like a repackaging of the same thing with better graphics for the modern age that they come out.
Yeah. Yeah, GTA 5 is being like, it's like the new Skyrim, or just keeps getting ported.
Yep. Resident Evil 4, that game's come out like 20 times. But
People keep buying them.
yeah. All right. I mean, that's my list, I guess. So I think unless you had anything else to add, I think we're at time.
I think that's it for now.
Hell yeah. Then I guess I don't know what we're gonna be doing next week. We don't necessarily have to say it here. We can keep it a surprise.
Figured.
We will figure it out. And we'll figure out how we can hear you a little better, because it has been cutting out quite a lot. Hopefully you guys are able to stick with us through this one. And I don't know. We might have to do like Zoom, and then I'll do my own editing to make sure that there's like the audio noise canceling is there.
Yeah. Figured out.
But for now, thank you guys for watching or listening.
Listening to us ramble.
Yeah, listening. There's probably nothing to watch. I might get us like a logo or something, but beyond that, you're just listening. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Whatever that may be.